Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where it is sunrise here at the KSC. That's nice. I did not plan that. That is purely by accident. However, what we need to do here is we need to complete a contract, and that contract is to bring a Class A asteroid into orbit of Kerbin. Now, these asteroids that we're bringing into Kerbin and the Lunar orbit right now, these are asteroids that we are going to mine. For now, all we're doing is capturing them, but we're definitely going to mine them. I do want to check to see before we do this if there are any other contracts that we want to grab. Let's see what we've got. Into orbit around Ike? I feel like that's not necessary. That's not super useful for us right now. Okay, so we're going to leave that facility. That is okay. And we're going to hop into the VAB. At some point, we're going to want to build a mining station. And that's going to be really interesting. I'm not actually sure how we're going to do that yet. That's going to be a lot of like trial and error. But we're going to just launch our asteroid redirector Class A again, because we need a Class A asteroid. If we need a bigger asteroid, we can definitely prepare for that. But we're going to go ahead and launch this thing. There we go. And we're going to find ourselves a Class A asteroid. Hopefully there is one. There wasn't one previously, but we're going to try to find one this time. So let's go ahead and launch this thing as soon as it loads in. There we go. Throttle up, and SAS on, and off we go. Let's go ahead and start pitching over for our gravity turn. And at this time, let's just lock prograde. So we're at a heading of 88 degrees here. I want to bring that up to 90. So we'll just try to pull that up ever so slightly, correct that trajectory a bit. Yeah, that looks good. Fantastic. So we are out of here. And our current apoapsis height is 10 kilometers. Looks good to me. Yeah, this launch looks, so far, reasonably flawless. 20-kilometer apoapsis as of now, and that's good. We have plenty of vertical speed, I feel like. And our horizontal speed is where most of our power is currently going. Not all of it, but most of it. Or I guess I should say the majority. Greater than 50% of the power. Fantastic. Okay. Off go the side boosters. Apoapsis height of 50 kilometers. And we're continuing to head on over. Now, 60 kilometers on the apoapsis. Okay, at this point, I'm going to head directly to the horizon. We'll just pop over here, put everything into horizontal speed. I want no vertical speed coming in here, if at all possible. We can see our vertical speed is currently decreasing. That's exactly what we want. Cool. So park over here at the horizon, and we'll raise our apoapsis height to around 100 kilometers. And this is absolutely fine. No issues here whatsoever. We can ditch the fairing now. There we go. And I guess we'll take this to like 120. That'll be okay. Cool. So at this point, we'll come around to this apoapsis and circularize, as we tend to do. Something along the lines of this. And then we're going to need to escape Kerbin's orbit. We'll probably do that with a moon flyby again. That is one of the, in my opinion, best ways to do it. But we're going to need to grab ourselves an asteroid here pretty soon. And, oh, there is a Class A over there. Last seen 6 days ago, so we're going to want to position for this, but that burn is going to be in 4 minutes. So we're going to actually hop back to the Space Center while we've got the time. And we're going to grab the tracking station. Any moment now, KSC. Any moment now. There we go. So we're going to grab the tracking station here, and we're going to track that Class A asteroid that we saw. This guy. Perfect. We can definitely see it's in a bit of a wonky orbit, but that's okay. And now we're going to grab the asteroid redirector Class A, which is on a suborbital trajectory, absolutely. And we're going to have to, of course, get that into an orbital trajectory. Okay, so we're aimed at the maneuver node here. There we go, maneuver node. And we will warp to this next maneuver. Okay, we are going to be starting this burn in about a minute. And we'll continue to warp. There we go. And let's burn. We should also remember to extend our photovoltaic panels. That usually helps. And our antenna. Cool. Is this good enough? This is good enough. Sounds good. We'll just pop to prograde for right now. And we are, of course, going to head off to the moon. And that encounter will be, what, sometime around here-ish? How's that looking? Yeah, that's looking reasonable. 822 meters per second. Let's see if we can't get an escape trajectory. There we go. That's a pretty solid escape. 822.7. And yeah, that's looking good. We'll position for that maneuver. Physics warp on the way over. That is very jerky. Okay. And let's warp on over to that burn. So it's going to be a 31-second burn. This is not going to use this entire stage, although it will be close. So we'll be able to use some of this for inclination matching, something along those lines. We'll warp a little bit closer in here. And we'll begin this burn right about now. Cool. 700 meters per second to go. I'm tempted to physics warp it. Yeah, I don't like the compression up here, right? Like, I'm not a huge fan of that. So I think we'll just hold off for the moment. And 2.6 meters per second, sure. Good enough? Good enough. No, not quite good enough. We need to burn slightly more prograde. Okay. That's good enough. Perfect. Very slightly more prograde. Well, we'll go ahead and warp to the moon encounter here. Hello, moon. Fancy meeting you here. What are you doing in this neighborhood, moon? Well, we're just here for the gravity assist. I don't know about you. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna. I'm having a conversation with a celestial body. Okay, let's just warp our way through here. Fantastic. Before I go entirely insane, we've got about an hour to warp, and we will escape here. And our next warp will be to around here. 12 days. Off we go, and we can set this asteroid as our target. 2.7 degrees. Okay, that's quite a ways off on the ascending node there. But that's fine. So hypothetically, if we were to do a combined burn here, and we don't need to be warping right now. If we could do a combined burn here at this ascending node, I don't want to set it as target. Is this us? This is us. Add maneuver here. If we were to do a combined burn here that pushed us out like so, that's actually quite close. That's solid. Okay. So we would need to change our inclination, of course. And we'd probably need to do like a bit of a radial burn here. Okay. That's awkward. That's giving us intercept 2. Right. Yeah, that's more and more relative speed there. I want to intercept near the apoapsis. That would be ideal. So let's just see about bringing that in radially. This is a bit too much. That's way too much radial. Okay. In that case, let's just come to the ascending node here, and let's change our inclination, and then we can fish around for a... an intercept after we get our inclination matched. That'll make things easier. So we'll position for that. That's going to be in 137 days. That's okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and warp to this. Should be nice and quick. And we're going to be burning through this stage, so that's good. Ah, there's our suitable asteroids being mapped. And there's that contract complete. Excellent. So there's that done. Yet another contract completed. Now, where's our asteroid at? I'm not actually sure. Oh, there it is right there. Got it. So that's fine for now. We're going to commence this burn. Basically now is fine. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we will detach this stage in a moment. And off we go. Cool. So 40 seconds left on this burn. No, it isn't. That's the start burn time. We've got 4 seconds left on this burn. Okay. Just hitting this a little bit more accurately. There we go. Cool. So now we can go to like the periapsis here. And look at pushing this out. What do we got? So this target position is a little bit awkward. That's for sure. What if we were to look to burn it? That's not great. Okay. So we would have to get this closer together with some radial. If we wanted to burn it here. If we wanted to burn it over in an orbit. So like if we wanted to burn it in +1 orbits. So not here, but here. What would that look like? Yeah, that's pretty far off unless we were to come around over here and not do +1 orbit. That's pretty far off as well. Okay, so we're going to need to do this sometime around here. And we're going to have to bring it in radially. It's very awkward the way that this is wanting to go. Very awkward indeed. This is going to be quite a high relative speed. But this is a Class A asteroid. Okay. A little less prograde would be better for us here. In fact, a lot better for us here. And we bring this guy in. More radial, less prograde. That's what we're looking at here. We're kind of overshooting a bit. Yeah. So that's 905 kilometers. And let's just see about bringing that down. We're then looking at this intersect, not this intersect. So 874. We can continue to bring this closer. You can see our relative speed there is actually decreasing. That's nice. I like to see that. Okay, this is looking decent. 10,000 kilometers away. 8,000, 4,000. It looks like 4,000 is about the most efficient we're going to get until we tune our radial, or rather our prograde and retrograde a little bit more. We may need to go a little bit normal to get a little closer. Yeah, a little bit normal is going to be necessary for this burn. So that puts that basically at the ascending node. And now can we get... Yes, we can get down to 360, 250 kilometers, 200. That overshot. Okay, 100, 80, 77, 70. Okay, that's about the best we can get. Let's see about tuning prograde. Nope, prograde retrograde is not the way we want to go. A little bit less normal here. So a little bit anti-normal. That overshot for sure. 30 kilometers out. 20 kilometers out. Under 10. Okay, 4 kilometers is the best we're seeing there. And 4 kilometers is the best we're going to get. Sounds good. 4 kilometers is quite good, with a relative speed of 445 meters per second. So we'll still have a lot of delta V to work with. Yeah, this looks good. We'll warp to that burn. And I doubt the actual burn will be quite at 4 kilometers, but it'll be close enough. About 3 more days in this warp. And let's see how we can get this done. And then we'll, of course, have to kill our relative speed once we get there, and then do a little bit of a get closer burn. But this shouldn't be bad at all. This should be quite good. Now, we could have probably fine-tuned when we're actually doing this, but the data resolution for doing that is not great. So it would be difficult to get that tuned in correctly. We'll just get this warp done. We'll call this good enough. We've got plenty of delta V. It's a Class A asteroid. I'm not too concerned. And we just have to take it around Kerbin. So that should be fine. Right? Just around Kerbin? Yes, just around Kerbin. Beautiful. And then we need a Class B in orbit of Minmus as well. That's fine. We can do that too. But we're going to need to make a Class B asteroid mover. Or just like a heavier asteroid mover. This is fine for a Class A. It's not really fine for anything bigger than that. We now know that for a fact. So we're going to have to redesign this asteroid tug, but this will be okay. So this burn will be done here in about 20 seconds. I'm just going to physics warp up to 3x. I really don't like this compression here. Okay. That's probably okay, but let's try to nail this a little bit more. Are we on physics warp still? I did not mean to press spacebar there. Luckily, it didn't do anything. Okay. How's our intersect? That's a lot further apart than I would have liked. Let's try going to normal, or rather to radial. Radial out. And let's try to burn this a little bit. Actually, let's burn pro target here. Okay, that's increasing it. Radial out. That's increasing it as well. Radial in. There we go. We're going to bring this down a bit, just fine-tune this slightly. We can see that we're losing efficiency here. This is slowing down. So we're going to need to go up to either normal or anti-normal. I'm not sure which. Normal. Cool. So that's down to 150,000 kilometers. Okay. I'd like to burn this to like 100,000 kilometers. I don't know if we're going to lose efficiency here. Actually, this is still going well. 90,000. 75. 60. 50. 35. 20. Okay, now it's starting to increase. So now we should go back to radial in and try to fine-tune this a little closer. Okay, nope, not radial in. Radial out. We'll hop over to here. Okay, and then we're going to need to go to anti-normal. Bring this down a little bit. I'm surprised that this is still going down. Okay, now it's coming up. Let's try tuning prograde, but I don't expect this to be good. Actually, let's try going towards target at this point. What happens if we burn target? Yes, that's what I want. 700 kilometers, 600, 500. Okay, that's starting to come back up. So we should bring this around to anti-target, correct that back a little bit. Okay, this is good enough. And now let's try radial out again. Let's see what that does. I think that's the wrong way. Yes, that's the wrong way. Back to radial in. Okay. Back to radial out. Radial is not the way to adjust this. That's about as good as we're going to get. Let's hop over to normal. Yeah. That's what we want. 96 kilometers out. Okay, that's going too far the other way. We're going to have to call 96 kilometers, or what we get here, 54. We're going to have to call 54 kilometers good. Unless we wanted to massively thrust limit this and just continue tweaking this for basically ever, we're going to call this good, though, and we're just going to warp up over here. So we're going to need to switch to target retrograde once we're done with this warp. And I have no idea where we are right now in relation to our target. We're a ways away. And we're currently getting further away, but that's to be expected. So we're going to intercept it up here in about 80 days. And we're going to end up being 264 kilometers apart. That's close enough, and we're going to match orbits with it at that point, and then just do a get closer burn and grab it. It's a pretty small asteroid, that's for sure. We're currently about 6 days away from this. This is definitely not a 6-day burn, so we're going to warp here. Couple of days forward. We'll focus this asteroid for now. Cool. And I'm even going to warp here, about 1 more day forward. Oh, this warp is going kind of slow. Exciting. So at this point, we are probably going to say, once we get done with this warp here, we're getting a lot closer, but we're not quite where we want to be just yet. This intersect is going to be in about an hour, so we're going to warp about an hour further forward. Okay. We can now see that we're about 200 kilometers away from our asteroid. We're going to call that good. And we're going to kill our relative speed. Down to 300 meters per second. 200. 100. 50. And let's slow this down a little bit. 10 meters per second. 5. Okay. We'll call that good enough. We'll point over towards the target, which is apparently this direction. And we are going to head on in here. So we can see here, separation of 85 kilometers. Okay. Separation of 5 kilometers, 5 meters per second. Looks good. We're going to warp to here about 1 day in the future. We're going to need to switch to target retrograde and kill that relative speed again as we approach. Because we're going to need to do another get closer burn. But for now, let's just go ahead and warp. Because we need to get quite a bit closer. Okay. So what is our actual closest approach here? I think this is probably about as good as we're going to get. If this is retrograde, then yeah, we're not going to get much more than this. Oh, why can't I throttle up? We have electric charge. We have communication. This is just locked. Is it bugged? Let's hop back to the Space Center here. and then try to reload it. See if that makes it not be locked anymore. Was I still time warping? That's a possibility, I think. It does do that when we're time warping. I thought I had canceled the time warp, but maybe I didn't. That's probably what it was, in all honesty. That is probably what it was. But we'll try reloading it, see what happens. In theory, this should fix it. I mean, this should definitely fix it. But I'm pretty sure I was still time warping. Just on a very slow level. Okay, so at this point, we can throttle up and kill that relative speed. Okay, now we're going to burn towards target here. We have a little bit of relative speed here, actually. So what we should do is kill all of this. And for the time being, I'm going to thrust limit this down to 10%. Okay, we'll hold here. There we go. Now we'll point towards target. We should probably arm our grabber, although I don't necessarily think that we are going to be utilizing it here. I'm going to go in at 10 meters per second here. That'll do. Okay. So we can see that we are approaching. Let's go ahead and time warp. Now we're not going to hit it exactly precisely, but that's fine. Okay. 15 kilometers out. 10 kilometers. We've cleared half the distance. 5 kilometers out. And yeah, we can see that we're definitely not going to be hitting it precisely. That's okay. We don't need to be. All we need to do is get close enough. Okay. Let's kill this relative speed. Down to 5 meters per second. There we go. And we'll point at the target. And in we go at 1 meter per second. Cool. So let's warp a little closer, and we'll be grabbing this thing this time. And that'll be great. We can unthrust limit this as soon as we've grabbed. Okay. We can tell our velocity's a little off, but we grab it nevertheless. We will control from the grabbing unit. And that should, in theory, be fine. We'll target this center of mass as well, but we are, of course, going to have to bring this back to Kerbin. That is a job, however, for next episode. So we'll bring this back, and next episode, we will complete this particular contract. We're going to need a Class B as well, but then after we get those done, I'd like to start actually mining these by building our mining platform. That'll be great. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, Sigma162, JJ Gamer, Spartan News, Rose Valentine, Nick Smarty, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.